You will wake up one day, 1 year, 5 years, perhaps a decade from now, and have one of two realizations. You will realize that your life situation has remained exactly the same, despite your goals and dreams, despite everything you promised yourself. You will be lying there with the same thoughts of one day, when I'm less busy, when I learn more, but nothing will have changed. Or you will realize that every small action you took over the past 1, 5, or 10 years, every rep you did, every doubt you challenged, every single roadblock you overcame, they all mattered. They all made a difference. 98% of people die without fulfilling their dreams, and the biggest thing holding people back is starting. I have been in this exact situation, terrified of starting, struggling to find the motivation and discipline, battling perfectionism and procrastination. But I no longer hold myself back, so I can confidently tell you that it is possible. These are the 5 mindset shifts that have taken me and will take you from the 98% club to that 2% club of people who do achieve their dreams. A big thank you to Shortform for sponsoring this video. Our first mindset shift is that discipline alone is not enough. The self-development world hates the concept of motivation. I swear, every single self-help guru preaches discipline over motivation.
Yeah, how good you are in anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline.
Discipline is the single most important thing that you can use when it comes to being successful.
Yes, they have a point, but they also miss something. As humans, we don't act without motivation, and this especially applies when we first start something. Every time you procrastinate on something, whether it's something as big as your goals or as small as an item on your to-do list, you do this procrastination because there's a small roadblock of resistance in your way. That roadblock could be anxiety, boredom, difficulty, or simply not feeling like it. Once the roadblock is out of the way, the road ahead is a lot smoother, but we can't get to that future point until we pass what's directly in front of us, the roadblock. Short-term motivation is the key to removing this roadblock. It's how to make starting easier. Giving yourself rewards, decreasing your resistance to taking action, creating accountability, whether that's internal or external or both. If you have a goal to learn a language, start a side hustle, or begin running every day, but you just can't find the motivation to start, then use short-term rewards. Start with 10 minutes a day. Give yourself a reward for staying consistent for a week. Schedule time in at the start of the day when the chaos of the day can't throw you off track. Or promise your friend to send them a photo every time you do the activity. These are all forms of short-term motivation that make it easier to get over the initial hump of starting. But what about staying consistent in the long term? You can't rely on motivation, right? Well, no, you can't rely on short-term or extrinsic motivation, but you can harness the power of long-term or intrinsic motivation. So let me give you an example. I go to the gym consistently because I am disciplined, but I am disciplined because I am motivated, because I want to feel the sense of achievement after my workout, because I care about having a healthy body and being able to be there for my kids and my kids' kids. And of course, because I love eating food and I want to be able to eat more each day. Another example, I wake up at 5 a.m. and spend 90 minutes before work working on my side hustle because I am disciplined. But I am disciplined because I am motivated, because I want to be able to share what I've learned with others. I want to create time and financial freedom in the long term, because I want to be able to wake up every day and think, wow, I really did it. Long-term motivation is not about the instantaneous rewards. It's about the deeper meaning behind your goal, your why. You can implement as many strategies as you like, but if you don't know why you're pursuing a goal, or if that why is driven by extrinsic factors, things like your parents wanting you to get a certain degree, getting a promotion for the social status, or going to the gym for others' approval alone, your discipline will not hang around for long, because when it starts to get tough, you won't have the internal motivation to keep going, to push through. Discipline and motivation are not all that different. They're not enemies. You actually need both in order to succeed. Understanding this will make your life so much easier, and we'll go through exactly how to use this in our action steps. Mindset shift number 2, you don't need more books, you need to take real action. We love using books, courses, and podcasts because they make us feel safe. They satisfy our need for progress without us actually having to get uncomfortable. We get to watch videos and lie in bed reading, telling ourselves that it'll all come in handy one day. But our issue today isn't a lack of information, it's an overabundance of information. There is so much out there. It's so easy to delay starting because there is always more that we could know. We convince ourselves that the next YouTube video will give us exactly what we need, but in reality, if we wait for the video or the podcast that gives us exactly what we need, then we will be waiting forever. Every single piece of content is created around someone else's story. Everything that I teach you on this YouTube channel is based on my own life experiences. They may help you, and I really hope that they do, but I will never be able to give you everything that you need to succeed. Only your own experience can do that. The most successful people have one mindset: learn as much as you need to get started, and then start. Start scared, start unprepared. I learnt more in the first 60 minutes of filming and editing a YouTube video than I ever would have spending 100 hours learning about it. You can live your life through other people's stories, experiences, and lessons, or you can go out and live your own. One is going to be so much more powerful and create a much bigger impact on your life than the other, and I know that you know which one it is. Now, books, of course, are still important. They do matter and they do make a difference, but you have to actually implement what you learn. So the best thing that I can encourage you to do is to pick one thing that you want to improve on at the moment, then choose a book that tells you how to improve on that thing and actually implement what you read in the book. I have been using short form the past few months to make this process so much more streamlined. Short form makes the world's best guides to non-fiction books, but there's so much more than just guides. They take the key points from some of the best productivity, self-development, and business books and give them to you in a complete one-page summary. You can take this summary and then decide whether it's worth investing your time in reading the entire book, because if you are anything like me, there are so many books on your to-be-read list that it's hard to know which one to start with. Short form's interactive exercises also give you questions to answer about specific books that you're reading, and this makes it so much easier to implement. For example, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is one of my favorite books, but it became even better when I actually started to implement the habits that Stephen Covey spoke about. If you want to try it for yourself and learn more than ever from non-fiction books, then you can join me on Shortform at shortform.com/Taylor. This will give you a 5-day free trial and an additional 20% discounted annual subscription. Mindset shift 3 is Kaizen over perfection, and if you don't know what Kaizen is, then you're about to find out. If you want to procrastinate without feeling like you're procrastinating, then I highly recommend striving for perfection. Write 5 workout plans before choosing the best one. Spend 2 weeks perfecting the layout of your PowerPoint presentation, and don't you dare start your social media account without the perfect strategy and 6 months of content already prepared. 80% of high achievers suffer from procrastination because of the impossibly high standards that we set for ourselves. Perfectionism and procrastination form this really vicious cycle. We know what we want to achieve and we might even know how to achieve it, but our standards are so unrealistically high. Fear of failure then sets in, so we don't start, or we move at this snail-like pace to avoid the potential of failure. This procrastination makes us feel stressed and guilty, and in the end, pursuing our goals becomes so exhausting because every mistake we make demotivates us and every next step feels like it's so hard to get to. If you can relate, I want you to listen to this carefully, really take it in, and don't just take it in but action it in some small way. Prove to yourself it's true. Create evidence for your brain to be able to believe it. One single action does not create our goals. Many small ones do. One perfect gym session does nothing but leave you sore, but 100, each getting 1% better, will leave you with the body and the health that you want. One perfect date with your partner might improve your relationship for a week, but 100 dates with them, each getting 1% better, will completely transform your relationship. relationship. One perfect business pitch or social media post might gain you a client or 1,000 followers if you're lucky, but 100 pitches, each getting 1% better, will completely transform your business. This is what the Japanese call Kaizen, a goal achievement technique that emphasizes continuous improvement via daily incremental progress. If you are an expert in whatever you're pursuing, if you've done that first 80% and you need to get that final 20% to become more successful, perfection might be something to strive for, but my guess is you probably aren't at that level in whatever you're trying to improve on. That goal that you've set for yourself, you're probably taking your very first steps. Maybe you're 1%, 5%, or even 20% of the way. You do not have to know what you are doing. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You simply have to take action, improve 1% daily, and repeat this over time. I've put some practical examples of these small 1% improvements in our action steps at the end of this video to help get you started. Mindset shift 4 is that time is always ticking. There's a question that someone has likely asked you before. If you found out that you had 1 week left to live, what would you do with that time? When most of us answer this, we list off this endless list of things that we couldn't imagine missing out on in this lifetime. Ticking off our bucket list, telling that person how we really feel, having one last go at that lifelong dream that we just haven't been able to get started on. But we don't need a doctor to tell us that we have a life-threatening illness. We got diagnosed with one the minute that we were born. We forget that the average person has just 4,000 weeks on this earth, and this makes it really easy to tell ourselves and tell others that I just don't have time. I'll start when I'm less busy. Now's not the right time for that. Now, trust me when I say I know that life is busy. I really do. But I also know from experience that it will never be the right time. Life will never be less busy. And I don't care how cliche it is, but if you do not have time for something, then it is not a priority. A parent doesn't leave their kid at school when they have a busy day because their kid is their priority. You don't fail to show up to your friend's birthday or graduation or wedding because your friend is a priority. So why would you fail to show up for yourself when your goals and your dreams are literally waiting on you to take action to actualize into your life? No one else is going to chase them for you. You find the time to shower every day. You find the time to watch TikTok and watch Netflix. If something is truly important to you, then it is worth changing your schedule to show it and to make time for it. If you're struggling with this aspect, then there's a couple of videos that I've done that really help you to gain some more time in your life. So you can go and look at those if you need a few extra tips. I also have a 90-day peak performance program all around creating the time, energy, and focus for your priorities. If you're ready to make that change, then you can check that out in the description as well. But also put things into perspective. Achieving your goals takes a lot less time than you think. 60 minutes over 365 days is 21,900 minutes. 365 hours or 15.2 days. If 2.17 weeks each year dedicated solely to your goals isn't enough, then it's probably not a time issue, it's a productivity issue. But my guess is that most people aren't currently putting in those 60 minutes, so start with that. Even better, instead of trying to get 1 hour each day, aim for 7 hours each week. It's the same amount of time, but it'll take the pressure off if you have a really busy day and you miss that time. If you really want to make a change, then track this time and use it effectively. I don't know about you, but I couldn't think of a more meaningful use of my time than pursuing something that's actually important to me. Our 5th mindset shift is that confidence is earned, not given. I started my Instagram account in 2022, and do you want to know how I did it? I went through my personal Instagram and blocked every single person on my followers or following list. I was terrified. I did not want anyone to know that I was creating this new productivity account. I was terrified of judgment, terrified of failing, terrified of being seen as a tryhard. And this wasn't all. I convinced myself for so long that I didn't know enough to start a social media account. I had spent the entire year before posting my first carousel listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, studying the people that I wanted to be, I spent 12 months convincing myself that I was taking action. I was not, in fact, taking action. I was stuck in a state of productive procrastination, avoiding the fear of failure, of success, of judgment at all costs, running on a treadmill, wondering why I wasn't going anywhere. Here is what I wish I knew back then. You will not be confident walking into a gym for the first time. You will feel like an imposter in the first meeting at your new job or on your first client call. It's because you've never done it before. Do you think Taylor Swift was 100% confident the first time that she walked out on stage? What about Michael Jordan playing in front of a packed stadium for the first time? I can almost guarantee you that they were not confident. They earned that confidence by doing the thing, by proving to themselves that they could perform under that pressure. Confidence is not a personality trait. It's not something you are born with. It's a skill you develop over time. How? By following through on what you say you'll do. Posting that content before you're ready. Starting your business even when you're terrified. Walking into that gym knowing that you are going to hate every minute of it, but doing it anyway because you are the type of person who does what they say they will do. You build confidence by creating evidence that you can rely on yourself, and the sooner that you start building that evidence, the closer you'll get to your goals and your dreams. Let's get into our action steps for this video. Now, I don't often create a lot of videos based purely around mindset, but often they're actually the most important ones because you can have all of the strategies, but if you don't have the right mindset to implement those strategies, then you're never going to make long-term progress. However, I also know how much you love actionable takeaways. After all, listening to a video is one thing, but implementing it is another thing completely. So here are your action steps for this week. Think about the life that you want, the goal you can't stop thinking about but just can't get yourself to stay consistent with. Action step 1 is to start implementing. Choose one book, podcast, course, or video related to your goal, and as you watch it, write down at least one thing to either start, stop, or change in your life. If there's more than one, that's even better, but make sure that you act on those things before you move on to consume a new piece of content. Doing this will honestly change your life. Action step 2 is to do something today to build your confidence, and this can be the tiniest thing. It doesn't even have to be related to a specific goal, but just choose something that makes you feel uncomfortable, that gets you out of your comfort zone, and find a way to do it today. Do it scared and start building up that evidence base. It's going to serve you so well in the long run. Action step 3 is to close the gap. Think about the gap between your goal and where you are now. What is one small thing you could do today to close that gap by 1%? What daily incremental improvement could you make to embody Kaizen? How can you focus on progress and not perfection? Here are some examples for you. If your goal is to run a marathon, then your 1% improvement could be to find a running coach. It could be to run 400 meters further today than you did yesterday. It could be to buy a new pair of shoes or shorts that make your runs more comfortable. If your goal is to manage your time better, then a 1% improvement could be buying one of those phone lock boxes to reduce your distractions. It could be to take one thing off your calendar that really isn't important to you, or to watch one video on time management and actually implement what you learn in that video. And if your goal is to grow your business or your social media, then a 1% improvement could be to send DMs to 3 people to form new connections. It could be to make at least one new social media post implementing some kind of technique that you've learned. Or it could be spending 30 minutes on behind the scenes development, things like marketing or website pages or developing your offers. Imagine what would happen if you took 3 small action steps for your goals every single day. Not only this, but if you iterated to make them 1% better every single day, imagine where you will be 365 days from now. Action step 4 is to find the time for your goals. Look at your calendar and have a play around with it. What could you change, remove, or adjust to find the 60 minutes a day or 7 hours a week to work towards your goals? And action step 5 is to combine discipline and motivation. Write down one strategy that will help you to create short-term motivation. This could would be a reward or a punishment to give you a bit of a push to get started. Then create your long-term motivation. Write down all the reasons why this goal is so important to you, how it will help you achieve the lifestyle that you desire. This is going to drive your discipline and make it so much easier to keep going when you feel like giving up. Your goals are out there waiting for you to pursue them. I really hope that you now feel like you're one step closer to getting there. Remember that starting is always the hardest step and it's not always going to feel easy, but the first step is required in every single success story, so it is so worth it. Let me know in the comments which of these mindset shifts hit you the most, and I will see you in the next video.